I am prompted to talk about a difficult and complex subject having to do with feeling safe and secure at home. I do offer a solution and a measure of hope. Do you have that one place, that sanctuary, where you can shut out all the noise, feel safe, protected, and focused? I fortunately do. My home in the middle of the Sierra foothills, where the oak trees meet the pines, that's my sanctuary. I have a small she shed in the middle of a cedar grove where I run a multi-million-dollar business and I write and I conduct research. It is my safety zone. It is my place where I feel safe, peaceful, and I'm grounded. I'm really grounded. I imagine we all long for that feeling of refuge, don't we? We all want the same sense of peace in our lives, to feel grounded, to feel safe, and feel connected. It's what we hope for in our homes, in our relationships, and in our communities. Yet for millions of people, that ideal, it doesn't exist. For them, home isn't a sanctuary. It's a war zone. Domestic violence. It is the uncomfortable conversation we never want to have. And when warning signs appear, we often retreat. And we whisper. That's not my problem, that's their problem. Not because we don't care, but because we were never taught how to respond appropriately with love instead of judgment. And by love, I don't mean something soft and abstract. I mean love as an action verb. The courage to see another human being, even in their darkest moment, and choose compassion over condemnation. History proves when we're given the tools to put love into action, when we know better, we do better. So what if the conversation we avoid holds the most radical solution we need? What if I told you offenders can change? And they do. One night, a client called me after hours. "Miss Denise," he said, "I just need somebody to listen to me, to actively listen to me." And I smiled because just that week in group, we talked about active listening, and I knew he wanted me to refrain from judgment, criticism, or blame. Then his voice broke. "I just want you to listen while I bleed out." Well, my action verb went into play really quickly. My love went into place, and I texted for first responders. I stayed on the phone, and I said, "I'll stay with you. I'll actively listen, and I'm going to be sure that you don't bleed out today." According to the CDC, 41% of women and 26% of men struggle with domestic violence in the US today. Let's visualize that. Everybody, if you could raise your hands. Okay, great. Everybody raise your hands. All the men over here, put your hands down. Men, keep your hands up over here. Over here. All the women, put your hands down. Now, look around. Just look around. Those remaining hands roughly represent the number of people in domestic violence reality in the US today. Put your hands down. For many years, I served victims of domestic violence, and their stories were heartbreaking. But with every case that I worked with, I had to question, who's helping the offender change their behavior? Reason suggests that when violence stops, so too does the victimization. So nearly a decade ago, my team and I shifted and our focus towards serving offenders. My team and I have worked with more than 13,000 offenders across California. My research data and my statewide study of over 1,000 men showed transformation hinges on 4 things. Number 1, humble accountability for violent behavior. Number 2, an attitude change about our own personal violent behavior. And number 3, skill development in nonviolence. And 4, the final, all nurtured in an environment of love and compassion. That's the love and compassion cycle, a model I developed where accountability becomes dignity. When we own it, we're dignified. Where empathy replaces control, and where change becomes possible. The man who called me to say goodbye, he survived. Not because I listened or first responders got there. He survived because he took humble accountability for his own violent behavior. He shifted his attitude about violence, and he used a nonviolent skill to save his own life. He called 3 years later, around Thanksgiving. He's still married to the same person. He's on his second child, and he's thriving. I'm Dr. Denise Healy, and I invite you to embrace the courageous and complex conversation about domestic violence. When you see something, say something, not with judgment, criticism, and blame, but with love. Call a first responder. Offer safety to the victim, offer hope to the offender, because under loving conditions, offenders can and do change. And when that happens, homes become a sanctuary again.